This is Will Montgomery, former Washington Redskins center.
Yo, what's good, folks? This is Trey Johnson, the headbanger, yo, and you're listening to Mess Hall with Rally Captain and Tailgate Ted. Word.
What's up, Rally? How you doing, man?
Hey man, I'm doing good. As you can see, I've got my NFL draft fit hat on. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting prepared for this upcoming draft in a couple of weeks, and I can't wait, man. How about you? How you doing, bro?
I'm good, man. I'm a little jealous though. That hat looks nice. Is that the new one for this year?
Yes, sir. Straight off the presses.
All right, I'm gonna have to stop by. I told myself I wasn't gonna buy any more Commanders gear until we figure out what's going on. But I might have to grab that for the draft, man. That actually looks really nice. I'm gonna have to stop by FedEx. I still got, I want to say
Yeah,
$200 in gift cards that I'm hoping don't expire, just in case we change the name. It'll last me a couple of years, but
fingers crossed.
yeah, who knows? Who knows how that works? Actually, did you hear what Montez Sweat had to say about the Commander's name?
I actually did, and I gotta tell you, it doesn't faze me one bit. And I say that because, dude, you've moved on and you're with the Bears now. And we know that the name is contentious with a lot of fans. And so, uh, hey, dude, you got your opinion and I can appreciate it, but I've moved on from that whole aspect of things. So he said he was embarrassed. Well, it didn't stop you from playing.
Oh, I mean, he's
You know what
getting
I mean?
paid.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean,
exactly. So did it really even matter? I mean, what happened to the Bears change their name to the Tigers or something? I mean, are you gonna be embarrassed? I don't know. It's just it's one of those things to where the name thing, it is what it is, and I stand on business that it's not going to change until we get a new stadium.
yeah,
That's what.
I think you're
That,
right. I think
yeah,
it's not going to change till we get a new stadium just because you're gonna have to rebrand everything again. I remember walking
yeah,
through FedEx Field under the old regime, pointing out that still says Redskins, that still says Redskins, that still
yeah.
says Redskins. Like, all right, there's a picture of our old logo. We're gonna have to change that out, and just different stuff around the club level and the suites and
Mm-hmm.
everything else. And to have to invest that money on top of everything else they're investing now, it just monetarily doesn't make sense. But you know what? It's just, you know, it's uh it's presidential election season, right? And
Yeah.
you can mute words in your Twitter timeline. So if the missus and I want to see a movie and I don't want to get any spoilers, I'll mute different words from my timeline. When, I want to go see like a Marvel movie or something coming out, I'll mute like
Mm-hmm.
whatever the hashtag is so I don't ruin it. I'm kind of starting to think I'm going to start muting some of these words here because it's just getting a little annoying with some of this. Like Montez has not been relevant here in quite some time now. I'm happy he still led the team in sacks just so they could see that we were depleted. But I don't give a damn what he has to say about the name because guess what? He hadn't had the lifter as long as we have. So, hey,
Mm-hmm.
happy for him. He's getting paid. Good luck in that winter weather up there in Chicago. And I'd rather be here in DC where I can at least enjoy our DC Defenders kicking ass at home. I think we're still undefeated for the past how many seasons? Ended up going to the
Yeah.
Defenders game this weekend.
Sweet.
I was close to doing the trifecta. So the Nats
Okay.
played at 1, the Defenders
Yeah.
played at 4, and the Caps played at 6.
Ooh.
So the Defenders game was so good that we won in the last minute and some change. I didn't want to leave early. And we were having such a blast, man. I sent a tweet out, said this is no knock on the Commanders, and some people took it the way, but said it's just it's refreshing being in a football stadium surrounded by home team fans. And I get it's not a fair comparison because the UFL slash XFL, their fans don't really travel. You're not going to have a bunch of, I don't know if Philly even has a team, but you're not going to have like a team in Philly, all their fans come down here and flood Audi Field for in the UFL game, XFL game. But it was
Yeah.
just so nice not having, just being outnumbered, man. I mean, just hanging out at the game, having a good time. And people didn't care if we won or lost in the beginning part of the game, but once it got down to crunch time, that place was loud, man. It was rocking.
Well, see, in the beginning of the game, you're just dumping as many beers in you as you can to help that beer snake. I mean, so you don't really care. But then all of a
Was the
sudden,
camera on me? Could you see me?
I was not even able to watch the game. I wasn't in town, but I tell you what though, the fifth. We're gonna break bread on the 5th, May 5th. That is the date that we're gonna get together. But no, I didn't see you. But I've been to the game last year, and a couple games last year, and I know how it is with that whole beer snake thing. So everybody's getting lit the first 3 quarters until they cut off the alcohol, and then you start coming on down saying, "Oh damn, there's actually a game going on, a good game at that."
Yeah, it was a damn good game. I had a couple of recommendations for some of the brass over the Defenders. I've got a chance to catch up with them, and man, that beer snake section's crazy. And they made a change this year where you have to have a special wristband to get in. So they scan your ticket. So imagine going to your seats, right?
Mhm.
And they scan your ticket again before you walk into your section to make sure you're in the right section. And they give you a wristband just to get in that section. So if you don't have that wristband, they're kicking people out because it's standing room only, and people were buying seats in other parts of the stadium and then coming over there and standing. They stopped
I can
that
see
now.
that.
So
I
it's
can see
not as
that.
crazy as it used to be.
So could you imagine trying to do that at an actual NFL stadium? I mean, it's easy to do it in a controlled environment like Audi Field. I mean, because it holds what, 20,000 people at max, possibly 18 to 20,000 people. So you can do it in that situation, but trying to do that at an NFL stadium, I mean, it's hard enough when the ticket takers are just trying to make sure that you're going to the right section. I mean, because the line just backs up so long, and I hate it. They luckily they know who I am, so they wave me past, and people are like, "Well, why doesn't he have to show his ticket?" And they say because we know who he is.
Yeah.
But it's a mere fact that sometimes just getting up to that point, I hate to try to bogart anyone, but that line, man, is far. You know,
Oh yeah.
just to,
It gets
just
to
to
be
get just
crazy.
yeah, just to get up to the section where you can go into the actual section to where you need to sit. So I don't know if I would like that at a or excuse me, Commander's Field.
Yeah, they only do it one time and then you get your wristband. So that way, like almost if they did it like where the club level and other stadiums, like for Atlanta, their club level is on the lower bowl. And then you
Hmm.
got the lower level that's mixed in with it. But if that club level, they just gave you a wristband. So at that point, they know, okay, that person's club, they're walking in there. That's how they had it set up. But it was refreshing. Yeah, there's only 20,000 people there. So it's not as
Hmm.
hectic. I was able to actually get some food this time. Like I didn't get a chance to with the Nats game. And I got chicken tenders that actually had chicken in the bowl. So that was a
Were they hot?
nice bonus. They actually were. It was a blast, man. I
Oh man.
I can't say it's as fun as a Commanders game just because you're in every play. And I can't say I watched every single play because I'm turning around, I'm chatting and talking with, a bunch of our friends that are out there, like Elizabeth Bethany from 995 and her husband JB and a bunch of people I know you've met before from the tailgate. We're all hanging out, shooting the
Yeah.
S, and people were just chugging and hanging out with a beer snake. Except I did recommend that they put a sign up for the Jumbotron because at one point, basically, if the opposing team does anything wrong, all the fans start chanting, that team sucks, that team sucks. Well, one of their players got knocked out.
Ooh.
And next thing you know, the guys in the beer snake section and gals were chanting, Houston sucks. And the guy's lying on the field. And there's some etiquette that they kind of have to throw in there. I get there, everyone's just having a good
Yeah.
time, but I'm standing up in the bleachers, just like putting my hands down, like, come on, that's just disrespect. You don't want to go viral on like ESPN for something like that. So just a couple of things I got to work out system wise, but I can't wait till May 5th, man. It'll be a good time. I'm hopefully off my pickleball tournament win because I play that morning. So
Look at you. You said tournament win.
hey, you gotta dream big, man. The missus and I and my doubles partner. Now, don't laugh. We went to Reston on Saturday to go watch a tournament. We weren't playing in it. We just went to go watch it just to kind
Okay.
of see what the competition was going to look like and this and that, and see if we were ready and see some of the mistakes and some of the things that they were doing. And the people at this place were kind of amazed that you guys drove all the way here from DC. Like you didn't have anything better to do on a Saturday. But I don't know, man. I got the bug. It was a good time.
Well, don't get me wrong. Resting in DC isn't that far. Now, if you said Williamsburg, then I'd be like,
Oh
okay,
no.
that's dedication right there, bro. But I mean, Reston, that's like Centerville, Fairfax County. That's not that bad. So I got you. You got to do what
It's
you got to
still out
do.
there. We went to go to the winery afterwards since we're all the way, you're out in that part of the country. You might as well stop
That
by,
part of the country.
It's like if you're going to Vegas for a Raiders game, you might as well stop in Cali. You're all the way out on that side of the left coast. So,
He
we made a
said
trip out there.
he said country, not county.
No, it's another world, man. Once you leave the border of DC, it's not the same out there sometimes.
Oh man, that reminds me. When I used to be a bouncer at a nightclub, and we had this guy who came in to actually it was a concert that we were having at the club, and this bouncer came in to give us some assistance, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm born and raised in DC," and he goes, "I've actually never been outside of DC," and I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I have no reason to leave DC. Everything I need is in DC." And this was when this was like I want to say 2000, maybe 2009, I want to say. And I was like, in 2009, you have not. And this guy was like 25 years old. And I said, man, that era, 2009, you're 25 years old and you have not been outside of DC. And I specifically asked him, that's the reason. So you bring it up, Reston. I said, so you haven't been like to Reston? You haven't been like to Dulles Airport? He goes, no, no. Why would I? I don't need to go there.
I mean, Tyson's
That's
Corner Mall, I would think you'd at least go shopping at Tyson's or something. It's like the best
nah,
mall in the area. At
nah.
least it used to be.
Nah. He said he's never been outside of DC, which I thought was strange, but at the same time, to each his own. It just threw me back. And then when you said Reston, it immediately drew me to this guy who can't remember his name. That was many moons ago, but yeah, just wild.
So we could have used you last night bouncing at the Bad Bunny concert. So the
Oh, was that
wife and
bad?
the lines were ridiculous. There were people that camped out the night before in parking garages, and it was cheaper to sleep in their car than to get a hotel room. And they interviewed them on the news that morning because they were giving out a GA, like general admission wristbands, and
Hmm.
you had to get in line to get those wristbands. So they interviewed all these people that just straight sweatpants and like t-shirts coming out of their car, waiting to
Mm,
stand in line for it. And the lines to get in were just around the block. And it was nice to see, Penn Quarter, Chinatown so busy.
yeah.
But damn, he didn't come on stage till 9 o'clock. There was no opener. And we had a friend that was stuck outside in line for over an hour just trying to get in. I mean, it was insane the amount of people that came there. And guess how many words I knew that he said in his song for 2 hours?
I'll give you three.
You give me way too many, man. I understood Washington and DC. That was it. And I'm
It
just
was
sitting there.
close.
Yeah.
It
I
was
mean, yeah, if he would have said District of Columbia, maybe I would have got you. But it was a good time. Don't get me wrong. And I enjoy like the beat and that stuff. And I like how they
yeah.
set the stages up and change everything. And he's on one side of the arena. Then all of a sudden he disappears. The lights go off and he's on the other side of the arena. He's coming out in a horse and just all this stuff. So that part was
Really?
kind of crazy.
Wow.
I just couldn't understand a single thing he was saying because I don't speak Spanish. I failed Spanish too. I'm not scared to admit it. I did not
Yeah.
do well. I took it because my football coach told me I had to. And next thing you know, I'm getting text messages. Are you watching this Caps game? Because the Caps were playing the Red Wings and we had to beat them last night to hopefully secure this playoff spot. But there were so many people in the arena, I had no cell signal anymore. So I
Mm.
couldn't stream the game. I couldn't listen to it on the radio. I couldn't turn it on the TV. So every once in a while, I get a text message come through. So my boy JB was literally just old school sending me text messages like, all right, this just happened. All right, we're on a power play. And luckily, he kept me kind of in the loop on what was going on because I was about to leave to go to the bar and then just come back in during the concert to watch the rest of it.
So fill me in. Did we win?
We won. We won. Right now, we are in the second wild card spot. We have a couple more games to go, and we have a chance to be third in the Metro Division and host a playoff game. So we'll see what happens. There's every
All
game
right.
counts at this point.
All right. Okay, man. My
Yeah,
fingers are
it's
crossed.
you and me both. You and me both. Because right now, Metro, let's see here. Where is this division wise? Just looking at it. The Flyers have 83 points and the Caps have 85 points. So yeah, we're ahead of them. It's going to be interesting to see if the boys can pull it off. The last home game of the season is Monday, tax day the 15th. So I'll be out there. I got a ticket for
Mm.
you if you can make it out. I just know what your schedule's like on a Monday.
You said Monday.
Yeah, Monday.
Hmm. This the 15th.
Monday the 15th, tax day.
Okay. And that's to make the playoffs, not an actual playoff game.
Every one of them is to make the playoffs. They're in
To
the
make the
hunt.
playoff.
Pittsburgh
Oh,
is 1 point behind right now with 84 points. I mean, it's a tight
hmm.
race, man. Every single game counts.
I'm gonna see what I can do, brother. I'm gonna see what I can do.
All right, well, I got you covered, man. I got you covered. So, how was your weekend? You got anything fun or hanging out?
Hey, went out of the country actually. Went to CR, not DR. That's the other coast, Costa Rica, and had a good time. Yeah, had a good time.
That's nice, man. Any drinks with umbrellas in them?
Not necessarily drinks with umbrellas, but drinks with passion fruit, drinks with adult beverages, and that's all I'll say about that, brother.
Uh, I'm I'm jealous, man. You definitely had a lot more relaxing weekend than I did. So,
Yeah,
but did
man, I definitely did, and if you ever have an opportunity to go to Costa Rica, I mean, this is what I'll say. Everything, if you fly into Liberia Airport, everything as far as resorts or what you're looking for is roughly an hour and a half away. So be prepared to travel at least an hour and a half away to get to your resort or more. I'm going to tell you that, or more. Um, and if you fly into San Jose, which is the capital, there's not beaches there per se, but if you're looking for the beach element or aspect of things, then you're going to be traveling from the airport pretty much an hour and a half to 2 hours away for your resort. And once you get there, I mean, of course, it's the bee's knees, but just getting there, they've got just 2 lane roads basically, and those
uh,
2 lane roads can get backed up, and so you're going to be in your van, car, or whatever have you for that amount of time.
yeah, there's actually a it's a pickleball slash surfing retreat I saw in Costa Rica that I
Mm,
texted the missus like, hey, this sounds like fun. We should go out there.
yeah.
But I don't know. It's getting the dollars up to be able to make that trip. But good news is saving some money because we're not playing in Brazil this year. I'm
Yep.
sure you saw that the Packers are playing the Eagles out there. Are you relieved or are you a little bummed that we're not going out there?
Actually, a little bit of both, Ted. And I'll say I'm bummed because I would have loved to have gone to Brazil to see our squad play. But other than that, I'm okay with it because, as I said a couple of months ago, when they first said that Philadelphia was going to be there, Philadelphia fans have the best seats available now. They have the best flights. They have the best hotels, depending on how many of them are actually going. And Philadelphia fans travel well. So I don't care about them saying it's a blue collar city and all that other type of stuff. The fact is their fan base gets behind their squad. And once they announced it, you gave them what that was announced in December, January. So you gave them January, February, March, April. You gave them 4 months basically a head start before the fans in Green Bay. Now, the Green Bay fans, let's face it, they are also a global name and they travel well. So we'll see what it's like. But I'm not mad at all, man, on that aspect of things. Only time I would not have been mad is if they would have said that we were going and they announced it simultaneously. Then I would have been cool with it. But at this point, hey, more power to those guys.
I'm actually relieved that we're not going. Just for
Yeah.
everything that you said, because I'm not missing a chance to watch us play internationally. And to start the season off out there, I want to go, and prices are going to be already inflated because all the Eagles fans are buying stuff up that we're going to be able to make it. So I feel like, hey, we're good. And maybe next year we're going to be the hosting team because we haven't hosted in how many years? Because we were the hosting team for that Bengals game in 2016. So it's
Were
been a
we?
while. Actually, you know what?
The-
I don't know
No,
if
no,
we
the
were.
no, no. The Bengals were the home team. Yeah, the Bengals were
Yeah,
the
so
home
we
team.
haven't hosted
Mm-mm.
a international game ever. So you would think that our name is coming up and it's got to be something. But guess what? When we're at the inner circle of the draft, yell to Roger, stop dicking us over, and give us the international schedule when everyone else gets it.
Yeah, that's going to be one of the first things that I talk to him about when I see him.
Maybe you have to pass notes back in school. You
Yeah.
just pass Roger a note with an
Hmm.
sbevents.net business card in there
Yep.
and tell him to hit you up.
You know what? I've actually talked to Roger several times, which I'm happy to say. And a lot of people don't like him, but he's never treated me bad or said anything bad to me, which I guess why would he? But when I see him, I will definitely talk to him. The person that I'm hoping to see is MJ. And I don't mean Michael Jackson. I want Magic Johnson. That's what I'm looking for.
Well, if you see Michael Jackson there, I think you've been hanging out with Eminem around 8 Mile too much and puffing on a little something. But
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I'd love to talk to Josh Harris. We get a chance to when we're out there and actually have a real conversation with him because I got a chance to talk to the other guys. It'd just be interesting because they're making a ton of moves and doing a bunch of stuff. But
Hmm.
because we're going to the draft, they had a couple of different calls that go out to all of these. And I hate the term, but it's called, the NFL super fans, right? And
Okay.
it drives me crazy saying that, but honored to be a part of that. And we're going to get a chance to be on some of these calls. Well, we had our first call this past Monday.
Hmm.
And on the call, they had people introducing themselves. And I don't even know if they asked for people to. I think people were just saying hello and this and that. And then different fans would say their team catchphrase. What is it? The Falcons is rise up, right?
Rise
And the
up.
Chargers is go Bolts
Yeah.
and fly
Okay.
Eagles fly. And
Uh-huh.
people just kept like saying their team catchphrase. I had nothing to say. It's like,
HTTC.
nah, man. And then I was telling the missus about it. She's like, well, why didn't you say left hand up? I'm like, no, I'm not saying that either. No one's going to know what the hell that means outside of this like small little DC
The
community.
DMV. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, at least before we would have like, I guess, Go Skins. I mean, I'd say HTTR would probably
We'd
be
say
what it was
hail.
before. But yeah, I'd say, yeah, hail.
Yeah.
But what the hell's our catchphrase now?
Rep it harder, don't rep it at all.
Nah, because then people are gonna have to give you money for your trademark. So I mean, I know it adds up for you between that and all the chains that you're getting some commission on. I don't know,
Well, then you already know I ain't getting nothing then, brother.
but we got to come up with something. And you would think it'd be organic. And I know some people want it to be left hand up, but that just ain't it. So
Huh.
can you think of something?
Interesting. Well, you put me on the spot. So right now, no, I can't think of anything, but wow, I would have thought that it would have been. Well, see, here's the thing. So obviously the Saints have who that, right?
Yeah.
Which is
And then
cool.
Who
But
Day for the
who
Bengals.
and who they for the back. Now the Bengals to me bit off of who that, but to say who they. So I don't want to say anything foolish, So
That's
I'll
pretty
say,
foolish.
yeah,
I
who
mean,
they. I mean that right there just kind of blows me out of the water. Um, Huh. You know what, man? That is really interesting. I've never thought about that. And the only thing I could have said was hail, or hail to the skins. I mean, I think that's what it was before, or crank up that diesel. I mean, it was we had all kinds of. We never had one catchphrase per se. We would always say a multitude of things, and so and fans knew what we meant when we said it. But I think universally it was hail because going through the airport, you give people a high five or what's up, Cap? Hail. You just say that. So now we can't necessarily say that. So
we
all
still
right.
got hail to the Commanders. And when we were submitting names to the team back then on what it
Yeah.
should be, based upon a recommendation of my boy Trey from the tailgate, who I know you've met, I
Hmm.
recommended the Washington Hail because you've got the Tampa Bay Lightning. Okay, well, Hail stays close to her old name. And I might have told this during an X pod. They came back and said, we don't want to have Hail in the name because people could confuse it with Heil and Hitler and Nazis from back in the day. So they
Okay.
decided not to go that route. And that's another reason why they said no to that name and they said no to Hogs, because a bunch of the women that they surveyed said it reminded them of a male genitalia and just all this other stuff, even though that's not the connotation. It was obviously about our offensive line and this and that. But I don't know, man. It'd be interesting to see what our listeners think our catchphrase
Huh.
should be as a fan
We,
base.
well, you know what? I was just thinking. One of the lyrics from the fight song is "Fight for ODC." I mean, maybe that could be it. I don't know.
That's as long as typing out Washington Commanders on Twitter. I mean, I'm gonna I'm gonna have to take a sip of water or a sip of beer in between trying to say
Ah.
that thing.
Hey,
At
fight
least,
for ODC. Fight for ODC, baby. That's what it is.
yeah. And then the people in Virginia are gonna say fight for old VA. I don't know. But
Not
maybe
if not
maybe people
not
can
if
think
you're
of it.
not if you're a true Skins football team Commanders fan. You understand what fight for ODC is.
Oh, I know. But then you get, because what we play Baltimore in Baltimore this year. I hate their fans. Can't stand them because they always give us a hard time saying get your stadium out of our state. Like it's up to any
Yeah.
of us. We don't want
Yeah.
FedEx Field to be in Maryland. We want them to come back to DC, but it ain't up to us.
You just mentioned Baltimore. Do they have a catchphrase? I'm sure they do, but I don't know what it is.
I don't
That
know what
see
it is
that
either. I
see
think it
that's
has something to
interesting.
do with like the Ravens flock or something like that.
Okay, I
But
mean
yeah,
that's interesting. That's interesting. Hey, bro, we've got plenty of time. We've got a roughly what 15 days. So before this thing kicks off, 14 days before this thing kicks off, we'll come up with something before the 14 days. Our listeners are going to help us. Matter of fact, we're going to throw it out there, as Ted said earlier. We're going to throw it out there to where if you're a listener and you can come up with a catchphrase for us, let us know, and we'll put it on the show.
yeah. I mean, we need something. Maybe we could get all the inner circle people together and
Hmm.
chat with them and see what they say it should be when we're up there. Because I am curious to see who's going. It's going to be a small group that's going to be out there. And then I got you in touch with a couple, I think one of the ABC reporters and some other people. I think I'm seeing that Commander Nash is going to be out there and some of the hog farmers and some other people. So it will be fun. And I had a couple listeners that listened to the pod last time text back and say, hey, I'm definitely down to meet up for the draft when you guys are out there. So if you guys are, we got to find a spot that's close by that we can all catch up and get to, because I'm looking forward to just getting down to Detroit in general and being around all the stuff that they're supposed to set up for the draft. Never been to one before in person, so it should be a good time.
Yeah, I'm very interested as well. I think that, like you said, we should probably try to have a rally spot. And when we were there a couple years back, I had the perfect spot. That maybe the thing about it is it's roughly it was right across the street from the stadium basically, and the stadium from Hart Plaza is about 8 to 10 minutes. So I don't know if we want to do that, but we'll figure something out if we want a meetup for everyone to be able to get together prior to the draft.
Yeah, I'll make something, see if we can get some people's feedback if they're able to do it. Because I'm looking forward to getting to Detroit, but I'm more so looking forward to this Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday this week. You know what's going on?
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Nah, bro, what's going on this Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday? Other than me having to work my butt off, what's going on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday?
Well, hopefully Monday you come into the Caps game.
Uh-huh.
And I did send Jaden Daniels a tweet because Jaden's coming to town on Monday and Tuesday.
Ah, yes,
And
I
I
did hear
wanted to
about that.
let the young man know that, hey, if you want to see what this fan base is like and what it's going to be here in DC, come to the Caps game. I got room for you in the box. You get to come hang out and see us all rock the red. And then after Jaden leaves, Drake May's coming in Tuesday,
Mm.
Wednesday. to
Mhm.
do their interviews with the team. So these are the ones that I care most about to see. And we're not going to hear anything. We haven't been hearing anything, but just it's almost like that last check mark before the draft where you know that they were bringing these guys in. It just hadn't
Mhm.
happened yet. And kudos to Peters and Quinn and Kingsbury and everyone over there and Ashburn, because nothing is being leaked out at this point. I mean, we would have already known by now who the old regime was going to pick like 2 months ago. But
Oh
kudos to them
yeah,
because this has all been like G13 classified over there.
I know all about that. And once I tell you that my lips are sealed, it's not getting out. And if you heard it from somebody, they didn't hear it from me. It was somebody another leak in the boat. But like you, man, I am happy with the regime as far as keeping things tight-lipped, how they how they've shown how they really mean business when it comes to the football side of things. I love it, man, because we aren't talking anything bad. You know, there's nothing that has been bad said about this new regime. There have been a lot of people who want to speculate, they want to put their own spin on things, but for the most part, these guys have been a class act, and it's very refreshing.
It is. And I don't know how many times in the past when we've got someone we've been wanting to get rid of and trade, we immediately devalued them. Everyone knew we were trying to get rid of this guy. And next thing you know, we're not getting offered top dollar or top picks to do it. Well, I want to say it was in Hogshaven. It could be Rigo's Rag. Regardless, if you guys aren't reading these two sites, Hogshaven, Rigo's Rag, I mean, it's phenomenal stuff for any Commanders fan out there. But it
Definitely.
basically talked about how Adam Peters pitted the Rams against the Seahawks to get as much as he possibly could for Sam Howell. And that the Rams wanted Sam Howell really bad to come over there to be the heir apparent to Stafford at that point. And they just didn't want to give up as many picks. So Peters basically told the Seahawks, and those guys are in the same division, hey, do you want him or do you want him? Who do you think is going to be better? Who's going to really get Sam? And he did that. And I think he really maximized what we could get for him. And
Hmm.
I have faith that he's going to do the same thing in regards to this year's draft and whatever we're going to do. And I don't know about you, man, but I am tired of all these mock drafts. I'm tired of all of these hypothetical posts from our fellow brothers and sisters saying, would you do this? And it's a scenario where a team gives us 3 picks that they just dreamed up in their head for our second round pick and this and that. I'm just like, people must be bored or they must have already done their taxes and they don't watch any other sports. I mean, you had NCAA going on. Shoot, you had the eclipse. Like, you out and watched the eclipse, or did you just not care?
Yeah. Hey, man, this was a once in a lifetime or twice in a lifetime type of deal, depending on how old you are, uh, situation. So I had to check that out. But I agree with you. We've got too much time on our hands, and it's all about the clicks. Apparently, they get paid off the clicks, or they get off on seeing the clicks. But when people ask me the question, I said I'm sitting back and I have my popcorn ready, and that's the best thing that I tell people. I can't get into all the possibilities of this and that and trying to devalue one person and value another, put more value on another. I can't do it. I just got so much other stuff going on in my mind to where I can't keep up with it. So maybe when I was younger, I definitely did, but now that I'm a little older, hey, whoever they decide to pick, that's who I'm gonna get behind for the good or the bad. Carson Wentz, henceforth, I freaking doggone got behind him, and it was for the bad. But because you're a fan, you do what you got to do, and so whoever they pick, even if it's number zero, which is still hard to believe, Mariota, I'll be behind him. Why? Because he's a part of the burgundy and gold. You
Yeah.
know what? I just thought about it, Ted. I know what my saying is, and I've been saying this for a while. You want to hear it?
All right, let's hear it.
It's kind of long, but it's what I've been saying. Burgundy and gold until I'm dead and cold. There you have it.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it. It's just it's long though, man.
I'm trying, bro.
That's a
I'm trying.
mouthful. I mean, they're gonna play the Oscar music and just play you off a stage if you got to get through that whole thing.
Breaking goes to I'm dead and cold. Bam, done. Exit stage left.
I mean, like BMG Forever or something like that.
We can we can manipulate it.
We can workshop it.
Oh
We
yeah,
can
oh
workshop
yeah,
it. Yeah,
oh
yeah.
yeah. We can need it, brother. We can need this thing, man. It's getting there. See, it went from 8 words to now it's down to 5. You know what I mean? So
Yeah. It's got to, I mean, fit in some hashtags we can put inside there or something. And I mean, I don't want it to be on a t-shirt and then I got to turn around so they can see the rest of it on the back. So,
well, it definitely wouldn't be Rep It Harder than Rep It at all. That's one with the front and back of the t-shirt.
I mean, if I put that on merchandise, I got to pay the royalties. So I'm going to miss on that. But actually, I had a guy get mad at me because I was tweeting with the Junkies talking about, would you be upset if we traded back into the first round and gave us some of these second round picks? And I said, no, if we can get a stud left tackle and get back in the first round at that point, then you could have potentially your franchise quarterback with potentially a 5th-year option and a left tackle, which doesn't really hit free agency on the 5th-year option. I'm happy to give up a couple of seconds to do that. And then I had a guy come at me and say, well, we should trade back and get, Michael Penix Jr. It's like, okay, well, good for you. I don't like that because the guy's had 2 ACL surgeries. I don't want, and granted, that was 2 years ago, but I don't want the guy on our team starting off, it's supposed to lead our franchise, already have 2 reconstructed ACLs. That's just me personally. It scares me. And he probably going to be a stud in this league. I just don't want to do that. And the guy just went off and started yelling and screaming like, dude, you do what you want. I'm not trying to fight with you about any of this. I just know that I'm not an expert, but I'm hearing other experts talk about it. And this expert actually kind of caught me off guard with what he had to say because I actually agree with him. This is what Colin Cowherd had to say on his show about Jaden Daniels.
The herd.
I've been told the Washington Commanders right now, as of today, would choose Jaden Daniels, LSU quarterback, as their top pick. Been going back and forth. I'm told they believe he's more consistent than Drake May. He is quicker, more mobile than Drake May. An offensive coordinator, Cliff Kingsbury, who will have some say in this, has had multiple quarterbacks in his college and pro coaching career that play like him. Quarterbacks like Jaden Daniels are important. They're very hyper-mobile, right? And that matters a lot. Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, as you're trying to figure out the sophisticated NFL pocket and all it asks, it gives you a couple of years to pick up first downs and move the sticks with your feet. Even Patrick Mahomes acknowledged the light didn't truly go on until year 3. But the ability to move, Washington's got a bad offensive line, pick up first downs with those feet as you're learning the game is important. He is not perfectly sized. He's a bit spindly for me, 6'3", 6'3.5", and 210. And it is a bit of a concern, but in the NFL, you can't be paralyzed by perfect.
That last part, that last phrase, you can't be paralyzed by perfect. I feel everybody wants Patrick Mahomes right now, the second that he steps onto our team, but that didn't happen for Patrick. He had the luxury of sitting behind Alex, right? I don't know if sitting behind Mariota is a luxury. To me, he's not. Granted, Alex was first pick in the draft. Mariota was second pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But to me, Alex is just a better pedigree quarterback to learn from. Do you want whoever we draft to start right off the bat, or do you want them to take some time on the bench and learn from whoever we grab?
Well, it depends on what we see in rookie minicamp, training camp, and preseason. That's what it's going to boil down to. Once again, I am for whoever they decide to go with. They have more knowledge than I ever would. So I'm going to say what I don't want it to happen is a situation where we're in camp and we're seeing a guy just making all kinds of issues and problems and can't do certain things, and they throw him out there anyway just because. I don't want to see that. If it's truly an issue, I want the best man for the job. That's what I truly want, Ted. And you're going to have to show me, because we know our previous regime would say, hey, this is the guy that we're going with. We don't care about this, that, and the other, even though they said it was supposed to be a quarterback competition. It never was. And so I don't want that. I want there to be a truly quarterback competition, and I want it to be a situation to where they say, no, man, this guy, he ain't, the light bulb ain't on yet. It just isn't. So we'll put him in the preseason and let him see whatever have you. But if it's not there, I don't want him out there. And if it means, and I know this is going to hurt people's feelings, if it means that maybe you got to dish him off to another team next year, so be it, until you get what you need. We've seen it happen before. And that's right. We've seen it happen before. I don't necessarily want it to happen, but if that's the case, then you got to do what needs to be done. And I think that we finally have people at the top who see it that way as well. Hey, he didn't work out, so we got to move him on and bring in somebody else who's the next batch of quarterbacks for next year, whatever have you. What about you, bro?
So I don't want whoever we take it to sit. I want them to play. I mean, if there is a potential for physical harm to them because our offensive line is so bad and they're going to get killed, then that's a different story. But I feel that this coaching staff is going to do what they can with a proper run game and a proper scheme to not have what happens to this quarterback and what happened to Howell last year, where he was on pace to break the all-time sack record. QB getting sacked. I just think that this staff is smarter in regards to that. And we don't know who's playing left tackle for a lock. We don't know what's happening around the offensive line. But that's why I want Daniels here. And this is actually Colin Cowherd explaining a little more eloquently on why he thinks Daniels is the better fit.
If you have the number 2 pick and you have a defensive head coach, and Washington does, defensive coaches hate turnovers. Jayden Daniels doesn't turn the ball over. Last year, he had a 10-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio. He does not turn the ball over. The other thing to think about, Washington's got a very weak offensive line. Well, pocket quarterbacks like a Jared Goff, you see how good he is in Detroit with a good line, or in the Rams when they had Andrew Whitworth. You saw him before Andrew Whitworth arrived in Los Angeles and the O-line was bad. Jared Goff was ineffective. So, bad O-line, mobile quarterbacks matter. TD to interception ratio, fantastic. Defensive coaches like that. The offensive coordinator has worked with several college quarterbacks that have had this style and been effective. And again, he just keeps getting better. That is a real thing. So I'm told right now, today, that is who Washington likes. It works with his mobility. He doesn't turn the ball over. He's coachable and keeps getting better. Right now, Washington, Jayden Daniels at 2.
Okay, so here's a question for you, Ted, as well as our listeners are concerned. How did LSU's line rank this year as far as the other college lines? And I say that because, was his line a top tier line at LSU, or was it fair to middling, or was it a poor line to be able for him to utilize his skills that he's saying he's going to bring to the table? Because if it was a mediocre line, as he's trying to say our line is going to be, then I agree with him wholeheartedly. But what type of line did he have? I don't know that. So maybe that could be one of the things that helps him transition into the NFL game, depending on how mediocre his line was at LSU.
So they were ranked 7th in run blocking, and they're one of the best in pass blocking efficiency. But I think part of that is just the fact that Jayden got rid of the ball. He didn't hold on to it forever.
Okay.
And he had some stud wide receivers that got open that are all going to be drafted high as hell just to make sure that he didn't have a chance. But he played against top tier talent. He was in the SEC.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I mean, to me, it doesn't even have to do with the line. It has to do with where this game is going. The pocket passer is not as important anymore, in my opinion, based on the past Super Bowl champions we've seen and the past games we've watched, than, the guy that runs around like Patrick Mahomes, like Lamar Jackson. I want a guy that can just take the game over when need be. And we saw what Brock Purdy did in the championship game to get to the Super Bowl. He used his legs. He just seemed like he forgot to use them, or Shanahan didn't want him to use them during the Super Bowl for whatever reason. But when Mahomes needed to kick on that extra gear, he did. Lamar won MVP because he can do the off-script stuff. And I don't see Drake doing that. And Mel Kiper actually thinks that Drake might be better suited to not even play next year. This is what Mel had to say.
Well, what Merrill said, when you look at that NC State game, Virginia game, NC State, Miami, Clemson, those 4 games were the ones that really gave you pause to say, okay, is Drake May super elite, or is there a concern? He's 21 years of age. He's young, okay? He didn't have his coordinator. Coordinator moved on. Top receiver Downs moved on to the NFL and the Colts, right? Walker suspended early on. But when he had Walker, even late in the year, these were late in the year games where he was like the pitcher who didn't have his best stuff. That's what he was. Now, he did get it together. When he gets in rhythm, his pro day, missed some easy throws early, got in the rhythm and was lights out. With another year, where would Drake May have been? That's what you're projecting. It's not who you are, it's who you will be. On talent and on want to, Drake May has that. Does he have to tighten up that delivery? It's a longer delivery. Yes, he does. Are there some things to work on? Sure there are. He needs to sit for a year. He needs to be what Patrick Mahomes did. Okay, sit for a year in the National Football League. He is not ready right now, but in a couple years he could be special. So I agree, he's got some flaws, but if they're worked out, he's got the talent to be an outstanding quarterback in the NFL.
For me, that's a no. I don't want my guy sitting for a year. I mean, part of the best part of getting a stud rookie quarterback is that 5th-year option, because you can now pay other important pieces on your team and you're saving money on that rookie quarterback contract. And then we don't know what we're going to have in this kid for a year. I know that I disagreed with some of our listeners, and I think at a point last year, you and I disagreed because you wanted Brisket to play. You wanted Jacoby to come in and win some games for us, and I didn't agree with you because, to me, all last year that mattered to me was, can Sam do it? Is Sam the guy? And I needed to see every single snap from Sam to prove if he was the guy or if we needed to draft someone else this year. To me, it's the same thing this year. I need to know, and I'm not going to punt them away as quickly as you mentioned earlier, maybe, shuffle them to a different team next year. But I need to know this year if Jaden's a guy or if Drake's a guy, and they don't have to show me everything, but they have to show me that they can make strides to be it. And sitting on the bench for a year because they got to work things out, that's not a number 2 pick for me. That's maybe a 2nd-round quarterback for me, not the number 2 overall. But that's just me.
Well, when I said send him to another team, I meant that we've seen it happen before with teams where they thought that they had a number 1 guy and they moved on from him after that first year because they just didn't have it. If that's the case, once again, don't buy that jersey just yet, guys.
To never buy a Commanders / Washington quarterback jersey.
Don't buy that jersey unless you just want to add it to the collection of the 30 that you already have. I mean, I get it. Some people are that way. But it's happened before, Ted, and you know it's happened. And so what I'm saying is this is no different. Right now, the quarterback position is a huge gamble. I mean, you look at CJ Stroud for a while, even with Houston, people were second guessing. Hey, is he the guy? Until the light bulb came on. And so once that light bulb comes on, it for some it happens faster than others. Obviously, for Mahomes, they didn't come on the first year, so they let Alice continue to play. But that second year, when he came on his second year. So all I can tell you is this is the time to sit back and just try to relax, as hard as that may be, because we're going to see and feel a lot of things. It's going to be a roller coaster of emotions right now. And I for one, want to try to keep an even keel if I could.
I mean, the list of first-round quarterbacks that have failed is longer than the list of first-round quarterbacks that have succeeded.
Mm.
So that is the part that is scary about all of this. And if they don't draft Jaden, I'm still going to be happy as hell if they get Drake or whoever they get, because guess what? They're a commander, they're on our team, and we're going to roll with them. But the thing is, I have faith in Peters to do what he needs to do to get this right. And if they don't get it right for whatever reason, I've got faith in Peters to bite the bullet, admit that they made a mistake, and do it all over again later on. Because if they don't get it right with whoever we're drafting, I don't think Mariota's win us a bunch of games. He'll probably get more than his jersey number, but I don't know that many more.
I would hope so.
I hope so too, man.
If we don't get more than his jersey number, then bro, this is gonna be another long season. And I, for one, I mean, I'm built for it. We've been around. We've had a lot of long seasons, but God,
you got some big shoulders. I see it.
God dang it, man! I don't want it, bro. I really don't.
I put this tweet out there on Sunday, and I know it pissed a couple of people in Ashburn off. It said the Defenders on their first home game have won as many home games as the Commanders did last season. Right? It's just
truth is truth.
Hey, I mean, it's and if I'm just looking at it as a paying customer from a fan experience level, the product on the field isn't as good, but from a fan experience, a win's a win, and it's exciting. We'll see what happens. And I think that the guys are investing and they're doing everything they can. And it's also lying season. Do you even believe that Cowherd knows who we're taking? Do you believe, because Schefter's saying he thinks that it's going to be Daniels. And when Schefter says something, I mean, I want to say 9.5 out of 10 times, that's exactly what's happening. But the fact that that's coming out and our guys have been so tight-lipped over there, you think it's actually going to happen, or you think it's still a crapshoot?
Well, I'll say this. I think that when they listen to these type of reports and someone hits on the person that they believe is going to be the actual player, I think that they call a meeting and say, all right, who's talking? That's what I think. I think that when Cowherd says what he says and then Schefter says it's like, all right, who talked? It's like the mafia. When he's got who said something, the Godfather. That's how I look at it. And so I don't believe any of it, to be honest with you. I don't believe any of it. And once again, you're going to get tired of me saying this, and our listeners are going to get tired of me saying this. I'm sitting back with my popcorn ready, waiting for the time, because we only got 15 more days, and we will definitely know. I can wait.
I can too. And I think I might have to mute. We're talking about muting words earlier. I might have to mute mock draft from my timeline so none of this stuff shows up until after, because it is way too nice outside. I'm about to go hit some pickleballs, and I'll hopefully see you at the Caps game coming up. And in the meantime, I'll let all those Kuipers and Cowherds and all those other guys just get all those clicks, but they ain't getting no clicks from me. We'll pick who we pick. And we'll see you guys at the draft party at National Harbor that Saturday, because making sure we're back in town to welcome whoever we take with open arms to DC.
Definitely. And just like they have Bills Mafia, we got the B&G family. That's going to be the quote, B&G family. That's going to do it for another edition of the DMV Mess Hall. We appreciate you riding with us. Oh, dang.
I don't know about that one, man. We're still working it. We're still working it.
I tried to ease it in there. But hey, we appreciate you riding with us. It's always been a blast. And hey, give us feedback of what you feel our chance should be, because you see, I've thrown 4 out there and none of them have hit. So, but with your help, we can get it done. So thank you for listening. And if you haven't done so, hit the subscribe button, hit that like button, smash it, do what you got to do. Helps us out. And that music is playing. which lets me know. We'll see you next week. You rep it hard. You don't rep it at all. Tailgate Ted, Rally Captain. Peace.